Hey everybody, happy Friday. There's so many things I want to talk about right now. I wanted to pop on and share all of this. It's been a pretty powerful week. We had our legal system codify our marriages as queer people, and while it sickens me that it had to be said, it also codifies people of different races being able to get married. So we are not, we are now legal, officially married. And we always, my wife and I, we got married in 2003, so it wasn't legal. And then in 2013, we got married in New York City, and we paid our state taxes separately in the state of Kansas, where we were not legally married. And for a couple of years before it went national, it's just been a thing. But the thing I want to focus on today and acknowledge is that there was a time as an old queer like me, and a lot of you old queers with me will resonate with this. Like, we never in a million years even dreamed we could get married, right? We never, back in the day in the 80s when I when I was out, we didn't, I mean, the thought didn't even cross our minds. Like, it really didn't cross our minds. And so this is interesting as this comes on the heels of, we're coming up on TDOR, is what we call it, Trans Day of Remembrance, where we honor and acknowledge the trans and queer people who have been killed and murdered, especially for being queer, like for being their trans selves. And so it's so interesting to be in this, right, in this place where it's like, on one hand, we feel like, gosh, could it get any worse when we have, and I haven't looked at the numbers this year, but last year it was 2.5 trans, mostly women of color, murdered per month last year. I haven't looked at the numbers this year yet. I kind of hold off on that until it's time for my own mental health sometimes. But we're here on this hand. On one hand, it's not like, could it get any worse? And on the other hand, we're like, and look what's happening over here. And so, with my work, what's important for me is, yes, we are staying conscious of what is so, but our energy, we want to focus our energy on the future and what we want to create, because creating from the past only gets us more of the same. And so we do everything we can to put our energy into the future we want to create. And then, we have stuff in our way sometimes. Right? And so we have to work and baby step that out. And that's but that's in this work and what we do. We want to focus on that. So today, what I wanted to share is that I'm super conscious, right? I'm constantly creating conscious leadership, and consciousness is about being aware. And so, what I'm super conscious of today is how far we've come, right? And I just want to acknowledge that, right? Because for us old queers like me, never in a million years were we going to have our marriages actually just be validated and acknowledged, let alone actually codified. So, I want to praise our progress today and ask you, what are you conscious of today? As a conscious human being, as an aware human being, are you aware of how far you've come? Because I think that consciousness, I was just talking to a client yesterday, how important it is to really look sometimes and be aware of yourself handling something differently than you did in the past, like showing up a different way, just not fall into those old patterns you used to fall into. Anything that has you acknowledge and be conscious and aware of our progress. And we're always looking for progress, not perfection, right? We're just flexing that muscle on progress, not perfection. And being keenly aware, conscious of our progress is sometimes the oomph, the energy we need to keep going, right? We got to see progress. And a lot of you are so hard on yourselves, you won't acknowledge the progress. And we're human. And so you don't see it. Part of my job as your coach is to say, hey, remember? So I have a great memory for my clients. I really do. Ask any of them who've worked with me. They kind of get their minds blown sometimes, because I remember specific struggles they've had in specific situations that then I can see. We've been working together 6 months or a year, especially. and wow, look at this person handling this situation completely differently than they ever have in the past. And we can celebrate that. And so, as human beings, we have to acknowledge it as a movement of whatever you're into. Like, we are moving. It just doesn't feel like it sometimes. And I acknowledge that and appreciate that. I'm not saying that there's, that it's all hunky dory. I'm just saying, for me, my energy is going to go towards what am I creating today? And my focus today, my awareness, my consciousness in this moment is on my progress as a human being and our progress as human beings, becoming more and more conscious and having that consciousness resonate in our values and in our laws. Because for me, that's what's important, and not like, oh, my family values have to be on there, but like, come on, people, just let's value one another's lives. And my thank you for valuing my marriage, right? Thank you for noticing and getting that my marriage is just as valued and just as important, and acknowledge it as much as anybody who's cisgender and heterosexual. Like, brilliant. In 2022, we finally got there. So we're progressing, people. We really are. I want you to just take heart for a minute in that, because gosh, there's so much else pulling you to say we're doomed, right? We're in an apocalyptic time. It's a dystopian future. Okay, I'm creating a different future. I'm creating a focus on our progress, not our perfection, but our progress. So thanks for taking the time to listen to me. I hope you'll join us. We have calls coming every Wednesdays where we're having these kinds of conversations about what are we conscious of, and what do we want to be conscious of, and what are we creating in the future that's not our past. And I'd love for you to be there. And as always, thanks for listening. Bless you, and love you. Bye.